Well, good afternoon, everyone. So nice to see you again. Welcome to a little bit of an experimental landscape session that I was thinking might be a good idea for all of us to have a look at, namely true terrain in Blender. I've, of course, not had a look at how to install it, so we're going to go through the whole process together. Do not make the mistake to think that this is actually a tutorial, because it isn't. I have no idea what I'm doing, but you know, therein lies the fun to figure it out together. Brian, Chris, Rod, Julia, welcome. Very nice to see you. Brian, I hope you're going to enjoy that meatloaf and mashed potatoes. It is certainly comfort food. We had fries, like crinkle cut fries with turkey and bacon burgers and some peas on the side. That was very nice. That's we just had that literally an hour ago. So that was kind of my lunch. So glad you can share your lunch with me. And thank you so much, Brian, for purchasing my inflatable raft from the Ko-fi store this morning. That was very nice. It was a wonderful surprise. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I think, you know, we had so much fun earlier on the YouTube stream. It was unbelievable. We essentially brought in 3D objects from DAS Studio into Superliminal, the game. That was very, very cool. So I absolutely love that. That was good. Music today. Let's just go start with some music by Joby. Let's see. Does it work? It does work. Some ambient stuff here. This is, let me have a look at the thing that we're gonna hopefully install into Blender 2.91 in a moment. It's called True Terrain 3.0. It's available from the Blender market in two versions actually. One is, where is it? View cart. It was already in my cart, right? I've put it in my cart. I haven't purchased it yet because there is a trial version. There's one for $39, I believe. Let me just go and remove that. There's one for, thank you for your subscription. Person with Chinese letters that I cannot read, I'm afraid. But thank you. There's two versions here. There's the True Terrain Pro, full suite version of True Terrain, including 50 plus terrain materials, which is a lot. 20 particle systems, 8 rock, 4 tree, 8 grass, and procedural water systems with animation functions, 1 single plane, and hundreds of different options, all in a neat and user-friendly UI. Or there's also for $25 the True Terrain Lite version, offering under half the number of materials, only 2 rocks, 3 trees, 3 grass systems. The UI and customization tools are all included, including sand, snow, water, etc. And there's also, quite nicely, there is also a trial version, and I thought, let's go and start with that. It is downloadable over here, halfway through. It says try it here, and I believe I've already downloaded that. Wouldn't be, might just quickly check. I think I have downloaded it. That's the Tangaroa mug. True Terrain Trial, that's the one. So that's kind of the first hurdle. I don't really know how to install that, but I'm sure we're going to figure it out. Let's go and fire up Blender 2.91 and we'll see what happens. And if it works well, we're going to go and buy the fully fledged version, and we'll see what the differences are and all that. I might even leave the default cube in place. There's a screw right in the middle of the file menu there. There we go. That's better. Has it done something to my framing there? Not really. No, it's just brought that corner up above me into view. That's okay. That's okay. So file, no, quite edit. I'm thinking preferences. Where's Steve when you need him? Hey, there's add-ons here, and usually you just go install add-ons straight from here. So I'm going to try that. I'll just go browse to the actual zip file that's called potentially True Terrain Trial. Let's go do that. True Terrain Trial, and boom, install add-on. That could take a second or so, or not, I don't know. There we go, True Terrain Trial. That then needs to be enabled, I'm thinking. Generate awesome terrains, yada yada yada. Author Richard Traynor and Zach Easton. That's perfect. Install update. Okay, let's go and install. Oh no, hang on. We don't have an update yet. That's cool. So I think that is that. But before we expect it to show up, I think I'm just going to go and quit Blender and restart it, because that is something that some plugins like to do, or add-ons like doing. See if that works. Groovy. I have, of course, not read how to actually get started with it, so maybe there's a Make Landscape button somewhere. It's usually under Shift A. And we'll see if we find anything. This rock generator landscape. That is not the landscape. I think that is the ant landscape. I don't think this is it. And nothing's really obvious here. So I might just have to go and read the description. Thankfully there is one. Daz. Crazy stuff. It's up here, I think, under documentation. The tab does what it says. Join the Discord channel here, which I have done, but I haven't looked at it. Then there's help on settings for device specifications. So I think the above link is best viewed offline. So let's go and let's do that. Let's have a quick nosy in what we can find. Recommended settings based on PC Mac specifications for using True Terrain. Please use this as a reference guide. Navigation is on the top right for next, top left and bottom. Okay, good stuff. Not that I see it, but I can just go scroll through it. I think that'll be all right. Settings and what they mean. Examples, low-end meshes, mid-range machines or machines, high-end limitations, best practices, and troubleshooting. Blender 2.9 builds. In Blender 2.8, you will find adaptive subdiv settings. Okay, that's interesting. That's in the scene under subdivision. Let's have a look. Does it? Is this the scene tab? Render properties. This scene? No. This maybe? No. This maybe? This is going well. There we go. And what was it again? Something around freestyle next to color management. I don't know. I have no idea what this guy's talking about. Okay. Let's just move on and not worry. So Steve said yesterday on our Discord that he was able to get this going within 5 minutes, which is really nice. He didn't say how he did it, but you know, geometry stuffs. Like, you know, getting started guide for really thick people is kind of what I'm looking for, but this is all from Doctors for Professors. Blender 2.8, there we go. Extra tools. That looks all good, but how do we get started? Mid-range machines are classed as the ones quad cores with hyperthreading or hexa cores with no hyperthreading, between 2 and 3 gig. Okay, so I guess mine is technically a mid-range machine then, I suppose. Where we apply those things, really no idea. Hexa octa deca core with hyperthreading and a clock rate of between, or maybe mine is actually a higher end machine. Yeah, DDR3 RAM, more than 32 gigabytes. Yes, I have that. Oh, this is nice. No worries, Rod. Hey, you know, I have no idea where to even begin. I've installed it now, just now, but how to use it is kind of, you know, you gotta figure this out by yourself. There's sadly no getting started guide. There's the update log, and I suppose you can ask in the Discord channel, but for those of us who just want to read a document that says, click this, then do that and be amazed, I think we don't have it. Update notes. No getting started guide. Okay. That's not so good. That's not so good. So usually what happens in any of these situations is you head over to, you either have a new thing somewhere like this one here. Press the N key and then there's the terrain thing. Okay, that's cool. Oftentimes it's also Shift A to put something into the scene that is what we want to create, but maybe we don't need to do that. Shader particles water. Full material, ground, secondary, shoreline. That's nice. Please add node to see settings. Okay. I don't know. Interesting. Hey, Christina, how's it going? 100% with you there, Rod. Absolutely. Goody. So that's this plugin. Shall we try something else? Because there's just no way I'm going to figure this out. That's a shame. We can always try to add water or particles. Let's try that. Maybe get rid of the cube and try to add... Oh, they add landscape. Was that here a moment ago? I didn't see that. Let's go add landscape. There's a landscape. Good stuff. Goodie. Rocks, trees, and grass. Okay, add trees. See if there's a shader on there already. Probably not. That's just the landscape. Low or medium trees. Interesting. Also rocks. Let's add rocks first. Ooh. Rocks are larger than the landscape. Hello, rocks. Yes. Perhaps the landscape wasn't quite big enough. Yeah, you know me, Christina. I didn't watch anything. I didn't read anything. I just thought, you know, let's press the stream button and install this all together. I didn't watch anything. Didn't read anything. I'm just happy that Steve was able to do this in 5 minutes. I did read like half of this, that we're supposed to make sure we're using the correct dimensions here. I think that's important. So when I add a landscape, this is probably too small for anything meaningful to happen. So I wonder if I just need to go and make that larger. Maybe like that. We'll see what happens if I now put rocks on it. Yeah, still not exactly what I was looking for. Let's try trees. Also not exactly what I was looking for. But I can make it 100 times bigger yet. That might be something. Oh, maybe that was too big. Yes, that was probably too big. It's so big it doesn't even show up in Blend anymore. What a shame. Hey, let's just try again. Until something meaningful happens. I think I broke Blender now. What a shame. Let's just try with a new scene. Until something works. I like it. It also really drives home which buttons I need to press. So add landscape sounds like the ideal starting point. But it does make sense that the 2x2 meter landscape is not exactly correct in regards to scaling. So I suppose we do need to scale that up somehow. So this is 100 times bigger. But maybe that's also not big enough. So when I do that though, then it just essentially there's just grayness. I'm not entirely sure why. But it could also, this looks more like a camera clipping issue. So 1,000 times as big, not a good idea. Let's make it 100 times. So since rocks and trees don't work, let's go try water. See where water is. Terrain water, here it is. That's nice. Where is it? I can't quite see it. Usually they're planes you move up and down. In our case, it's an invisible object. Literally is invisible. Oh, there it is. It's just small. It's just small. Let's scale it up as well. S100. And bring the landscape back. There we go. Now we have landscape surrounded by water. I'm thinking, probably. GZ will make that water higher or lower. I like it. I like it. Default's already pretty funky. Good landscape and water. That's nice. Oh, okay. And apply the scale. Gotcha. Yeah, because 100 is still not enough for to do that. Let me just go and apply the scale first. Was it? I think it's Control A scale of that, and then also the landscape here. Control A, apply the scale. Not sure what happened with the water now. GZ. We do want it to be kind of here. But I think that's not containing, and that doesn't contain any materials yet. That is literally just the geometry. Let's see if we can make that under shader. Let's add material to the water. Could it be as easy as that? Rock and ground, and my goodness, this is already complicated. Oh, he's still working. He's still working. Shaders compilation at the bottom screen. You can just about see that 25% there. Yeah, so I can imagine that there's a lot of maths going on in the background. So we've got to give it a bit of time here. Aha! Could be. Is this the water? Certainly gone considerably slower. That's good to know. Let's see if we can add a material on the terrain. The shoreline material, that is very exciting. I also have a feeling that our light source now, the light isn't scaled up, and the light's probably like inside the landscape there. So let's grab that out. Oops. And the light is kind of a tiny point light now. So yeah, of course, it doesn't really have doesn't have the correct parameters. Let's see if we can just go turn it into just a sunlight. That's the directional light. Ever so slightly strong, perhaps. I suppose what we could do with is a nice HDRI now. So that we can actually see the water. The water probably looks really nice, but I've just have a regular sunlight here. I mean, it is a mountain that even without instructions we could just about make happen. That's nice. Maybe select the landscape and see if I can add a shoreline material. Add node for shoreline. Oh my goodness, that is possible. You just do that and that does that. Or not. Also possible. Oh no, shaders are compiling. That's cool. Let them shaders compile. That doesn't look like a shoreline to me. If so, it's an alien planet. Okay, forget the shoreline. Let's go and undo that. Forget the shoreline. Let's grab an HDRI. I don't think I have one. I don't know why I don't have any, but that's just how I work. I just never have any HDRIs. They're in one folder that we can just go and grab. Let's maybe grab an outdoor one. Maybe this. Or maybe that'll fit in. Or this perhaps. Let's use that. Kloppenheim 5. I like it. Oh, there's a texture missing. Maybe just a low-res version. 22 megabytes. Let's do that. Kloppenheim. So, how do I do that again? I think I go into the shading tab. And then under this slot here, I'll say world. And then something along the lines of, I've made a note of it. Yes, that is, of course, yes, the pink is a missing texture. Well spotted, Christina. Yes, absolutely. Yes, that is always that thing in Blender, isn't it? Pink usually means I'm trying to load a file that isn't there. That's true, yes. Yes, that is the Blender plugin, absolutely. I like to log in so I don't see any adverts, which of course any of my supporters can do as well. If you want to use any of my websites and you find the information helpful and you'd like to browse my websites without seeing advertising, all you need to do is register and I'll approve you, and then you can log in and there's no more adverts. Hdri Blender. Helps if we can spell it. Rotate an HDRI in Blender. How do we even create one? Maybe that rotation article will put me on the right spot there. Thingy goes into background. That's it? Really? That's easy. So just the texture. Cool. And in order to rotate it, we need to put a texture coordinate into a mapping coordinate, and then the mapping goes into the texture. Gotcha. Perfect. But perhaps we don't need to do that. Kloppenheim, will you be mine? Ah, not responding. That's not so good, is it? Windows is still responding, but Blender isn't doing that. Oh, Rod, we haven't even learned anything yet. We haven't even done anything. I should really clear up my downloads folder, shouldn't I? Kloppenheim, there we go. Open image. And that then in the rendered view. Let's just see what that looks like. Oh, there's grass and stuff. Okay, we have an HDRI. That's a good start. Computer is indeed struggling. The water looks more like, yeah, but not like water. Oh, also, are we in, yeah, we're in Eevee. And there's a couple of things I remember that I need to switch on for it to really come out. I don't think they concern the materials though. So the materials, I'm just expecting to see something that doesn't look like this. I do have Node Wrangler enabled, yeah. Oh, Control T does that. Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you, Christina. That's exciting. Control T rather than search for one. Okay, that's nice. Thank you. There was something, he did explain something in here. This is not the, so this is this document here, essentially. There's a Discord channel and there's an update log. And none of them is a getting started guide, which is a shame. It's a shame when people don't do that. I understand the video, I can't watch the video right now, so it would be just nice to have a 5-step, just written instructions thing. I'm not sure why people don't do that, I'm afraid. Bug fixes, bug fixes. Yeah, but he does explain in here that we're supposed to set some bits and pieces. I think it says that at the top here. These settings apply to Blender 2.79, beyond which we have something that is for Blender 2.8 somewhere. Blender 2.8, there we go. Extra tools. Off-screen pixel dicing, which sounds exciting. The following slides show the render images plus render settings, render resource material. Render dicing. What happened to the funky screenshots that we just saw here? Isn't this something... Because this is all Blender 2.79 still, but no things for Blender 2.8. Results, yes, but screenshots, no. What a shame. Render dicing. Oh, maybe we can find it. I don't know. I don't think there's something I've ever found. In render settings, is this it? Render properties, that could be it. He also says, that exactly, Christina, that's exactly what I was going to say. He says that some things don't work on Eevee and they were never really meant for Eevee. So let's switch this over to cycles and to GPU. And we'll just let optics bake once again stuff that we, I guess it's necessary. Optics backend. Oh, no, I read about that as well. Optics is also not supported on this. So we need to go over to system and not use optics. We need to use regular CUDA, I think. And just with the GPU, not with the CPU. Perfect. Yes, I read about that too. Haha, it's all coming together. Yeah, Rod, I'm with you. Sometimes it's just people only ever make videos about things now. There's things other than videos. I mean, the last thing I want to do sometimes is watch a video about something that I'm trying to do on the monitor that I'm working, I'm a big fan of written things, writing things down myself. And also reading things back, because it takes 4 seconds, rather than watching a 10-minute video. That's sometimes, I just don't work like that. Not all the time. I do like him if it's a longer form video that tells me things step by step. That would be very complex to write down. But at the same time, just a getting started guy, you can write that. Okay. Terrain water. Is there anything we can do with the water? Because currently we've added water, basic ocean shore, waves, ripples, shader. Let's have a look at the shader. I think there's something not quite right with the water shader. This is ground. This is rocks. There's an Eevee Fix here, which is nice. Rocks, dust, snow, subdivision. Isn't that the case, Rod? Isn't that right? Yeah, but I think in this case, watch the video or don't use the product is essentially the message, isn't it? Sadly. Yeah, I don't think I can work this out. Looks like we're gonna have to go and watch the video in our own time and then, regroup here tomorrow and find something else to do for this afternoon. I'm afraid. Because I don't really see an option to, so I can add water, but it looks like under shader, I don't see a way to, maybe just add material. I thought I did this already. Yeah, it has a material, but it doesn't look like water to me. And not that we need to use water. We can try other things. We can just go get rid of the water. That'll work. Just have a look at the rocky landscape here and see if we can do something about the rocks. Particles. Where did I see that again? Oh, landscape. Sorry, there, landscape. Like add trees and grass and rocks. That's a cool idea, isn't it? With the landscape selected, let's see if we can add grass. See what happens. Oh, maybe there's grass now. Who knows? Yes, there is grass. Definitely grass on the landscape. Maybe we just need more grass. Or larger grass. Let's go make the grass 10 times larger. There we go. There's grass on the landscape. Hair dynamics and all that. I think this is the particle emitter talking there. After the big success of the grass, let's add trees. Do we have trees? Oh, there we go. Trees are big. Let's make the trees much smaller, like 0.1 type trees. Well, that was very small. Trees. Yeah, it's still too small. 0.5 maybe. Yeah. Also a lot. 0.3 perhaps. And also the number of trees, maybe just 100 trees instead of 1,000. Jay's first landscape. I like it. And this is what it looks like without the selection. I could have also just switched off this here. Not bad. You know, I wonder if I should just remove the background, because I find that a bit distracting. Let me see if I can do that. I think that's under something. That was under film. Don't ask me why. Let's go put it. That's it. Okie doke. Good point, Christina. Yes, absolutely. And from what I understand, the difference between the trial version and the full-fledged version is just the number of materials that are included, and the number of, what did he say now? He did mention this here. So the trial version is fully functioning, and it's just a lower spec version. What did he say now? I forgot where I read that now. So these versions here, the difference between the Pro and the Lite version is the number of grass layers and tree layers and stuff that you can put on there. So I would imagine this version, the trial version, is even it's just, you know, so that we get to see the principle at work. So if this is trees now, so there's low and medium. Maybe if I add medium trees as well. Can I add 2 layers of trees? Is that how it works? I think so. I think so. Those are now different types of trees. I'm going to make them smaller as well. And I'm going to reduce the number of trees down as well, so that there's different types. Nope. Just trying to make this a bit bigger here so that we can see more stuff. It's the same tree though. And so I suppose these are layers as such, I would imagine. For low and medium resolution or density. Don't know really. Let's go remove the medium trees again. There we go. Let's go back to this. Trees. Grass. Oh, this is the grass. So the grass, maybe we'll make more grass. Also random seed, so just switch the number and it'll spawn in different places. I might just make more grass. 5,000, so that's more grass. Also viewport rendering, I'm going to switch that to 0 so that Blender will keep rendering and keep improving the picture. Otherwise it'll stop at this number here, which was set to 32. And if we just leave it alone, it should just get better and better, I think. And when we move it, then it starts again at 0, but it just goes and keeps getting better now rather than stop at one point. Ribbon grass. Let's add maybe some rocks, I'm thinking. Add rocks. Come on. Okay, no worries, Christina. We'll battle it out here. Size of the rocks, a bit big. Let's go make him a bit smaller. And now we have rocks on the landscape. Also random. Let's make him, I don't know, 0.5 random. Landscape rod. Blu-ray, please, thank you so much for subscribing, for following even. Thank you, I appreciate that. So, other than the water, I'm thinking... other than the water rod, This is how we make landscapes. But also, you know, notice that I don't know anything about this plugin, so I'm kind of interested to see what happens if we just blow the $39 and see what happens if we install the real version. Shall we try that? Maybe that has written instructions that come with the downloaded product. That'd be kind of good. Let's try that. I'll go and save this so we can go back to it later. Maybe just on the... maybe even in my OneDrive folder. There's a Blender folder. Let's add a new folder and call that Pure Landscape. Aptly titled Test 1 with trial version. It's not bad, right? I mean, for the fact that there were no instructions. This is what we've been able to do in 45 minutes, so that's not bad. I'm thinking, let's go ahead and just go and grab the full version. See what the differences are. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see that. So no Eevee for now. It's cycles only, and it's no CUDA either. So we know that already. And HDRI is probably a good idea to have that. Alrighty, let's go and switch this back to this view here, which looks interesting. I like to see what the water looks like, but I'm not entirely sure if we're gonna get there. So let's go new scene. I don't know how it works. Do I need to disable the other plugin? Come on, let's see. We're just gonna go purchase this. Come on, let's do this. Add it to cart. Come on. View cart. All right. $39. Continue to check out. All right. I'll use PayPal. No, actually, I need my card, don't I? Either will be fine. I'm gonna not let you see that though. I'll use PayPal. Let's see what happens. Which account are we actually using? Is it the American one? Is it the British one? Is it... Let's use this one. This is exciting, isn't it? Live purchase. All right, that was it, I think. Yes, that was it. All right. Got a ton of downloads here. True Terrain Pro, textures, patch, read me first. Large scene benchmarks, True Water 4 PDF, True Terrain Help PDF. So if you buy it, you get written instructions. Appreciate it, my man. It's just good to know, Matthew. Oh, actually, Matthew is the manager of Blender Market, so there we go. Well, I guess I'm going to go download all of these things. Pro Textures. Do this automatically, that would actually help, yes. Pro Textures 2K. Pro Textures 0.5K. As I said, do this automatically from now on. There's also the patch. There's a readme first. We might just open that in a new thing. Large scene benchmark. Okay. True Water. Might open that in a new thing. And this. But also go and download it. This and that. Perfect. Pick up. This is the PDF that we saw on the site. This is actually the stream in case I need to put anything in there. And this is what we've just learned from the thing. Alrighty. Things are still downloading. So well, I've got 2 copies of that. True Terrain 3.1 help. Let's have a look. Oh, you've got some View Water. Okay, great. Let's have a look at that, Rod. View Water. Really? I don't see View Water. Where's the View Water? did you say on, oh, on page 8? I'm so sorry. Duh, just read whatever the man's written there. Ah, yes. And this is also view then in the background, is it, Rod? Yes, yes. And here. Gotcha. 2012, my goodness, look at that. Time flies when you're having fun, isn't it? Alrighty, true terrain, there we go. Oh, it's opening that. That's fine. That's fine then. Do we get to see this a little bit larger? Documentation and guide. See, this is exactly what we didn't have in the trial version. It just downloaded and I just installed it. Maybe it even installed it with it, but I didn't see that. True Terrain is a terrain and environment creation tool designed to allow the user to create environments easily and quickly without the need to compromise on detail and quality. True Terrain provides the artist, me, you, materials, grass, rocks, tree, water, procedural base mesh mapping, oh my goodness, getting started, creating worlds at the starts with the bottom. What? With the button, okay. Getting started. Click the Generate Terrain button, will import a mesh from the Ant Landscape tool. Ooh, I also have that installed. That's kind of cool. The options for this tool will appear in the bottom left of the third viewport. You will need to click the drop arrow to open this toolset up. From here, you will need to then generate your mesh shape using the sliders and options available. See, I see. More information about this tool can be found here. Documentations. That's Ant Landscape, righty. So it's almost like it's a vital part of the thing. The Ant Landscape is the one that I think I have that. You just click Shift A and then somewhere you say Landscape. That is it. Right, so it uses Ant Landscape in the background. These are the small options. So you got to understand one plugin in order to use another plugin. Ooh, okay. Interesting. Let's see, getting started continued. Once you're happy with your landscape, your next step will be to create the base materials. Click Add Material button, then you will click Create Terrain on the selected object. You can either have chosen the preset materials beforehand. Okay, sounds complicated. Let's go and install this thing first. But that's a vital clue that we now know it actually uses Ant Landscape under the hood. In regards to installing stuff, are we still doing that with edit preference and just under add-ons maybe? So just like install. True Terrain, this one here maybe. That could be it. Version 3.1.51.2.9.0. Let's install it. See what happens. Hey there, Madness Middles. How you doing? Hey, you'll be so pleased to hear that I found a fix for the Cyberpunk crash. That is very, very good to hear. Somebody in the community has written a patch that will make this that will make it skip the AVX instructions, and I've been able to play some more yesterday. Very nice. And the captain, top of the evening. It's basically a cut down version of what we did yesterday. Will go out on YouTube about 6 o'clock, I believe, because that's when the embargo ends. So I can't post things from Twitch over on YouTube unless 40 to 24 hours have expired. So I'm going to have to wait for that. But it will be on my channel. If you know somebody who also has crash issues, direct them to that video. There we go. Mesh True Terrain Pro. Let's enable it already. Fantastic. I suppose we can now go and disable True Terrain trial version, right? I'd imagine. Let's see if we can do that. True Terrain trial. Yeah, there we go. Let's go and disable that. And because I'm a cautious fellow, let's go and quit the Blender, restart it, because that's probably going to help. And we're going to work our way through this 33-page PDF manual. I'm sure we'll get there in the end. If not, we will die trying. There we go. Get rid of cube. Add, I believe, landscape. I think also perhaps, does the terrain tab do that? Yes, look at that. It does that. So you can just go add landscape. That will do exactly the same as that. Add another noise level. So far, same stuff in place. That's good. Oh, this was it, wasn't it? No, actually, we have two versions of this open now, don't we? Yeah, there we go. Getting started. Okay, this, you'd imagine there's a one-click button thing, but I don't think that's the case. It does, doesn't it, Brian? Actually, it does sound like a comic book duo. Clicking the generate. Okay, maybe we don't need to do that then. Create the base materials. Click on the add material button and this will create a terrain material on the selected object. Gotcha. So it's essentially that. We go with the landscape selected, add material, right? Boom. That will do that. We can probably verify this. There's a terrain material. Loving this. We don't really see stuff just yet, so maybe we'll go and switch this on to give us a little render here. Totally fiddling with the Pro version. Oh, he was still thinking about it. Okay, good. Landscape selected. We have that. Any visual feedback here? Okay, that's interesting. And this is now still my, I think it's just my point light. Where is my point light? Point light? Oh, point light is over there. Okay, cool. So at least we've got some illumination going here. That's nice. What next? You can either have chosen the preset materials beforehand, or you can do this after. If you have an object with terrain material attached, any new materials you select will be automatically appended once you have selected them. You can apply only 2 materials for the base mesh using the UI at this point. Now your material is added, you can go into material setting on the shader tab under each selected material and change the options like glossiness, displacement, amount, and scaling values. Okay, well, let's imagine we're happy with this. After applying your material, you must ensure that your terrain mesh is scaled and applied that scale to a real world value. For example, if you are wanting, oh, ouch, grammar, to make a large terrain, probably then you will need to scale it so its dimensions meet those values. Please do not leave the mesh at its normal scale. This will cause issues with the displacement. Once you now have your materials set up, it is advised that you add your particle systems first before adding the subdivision modifier. The subdivision modifier needs to be at the bottom of the modifier tab to make sure it works. Okay, there's a lot to take in here. Oh, Brian, amazing. Yes, good luck. And absolutely give your computer some time to figure this out. Yeah, I think mine was, I don't remember. I think I just kicked mine off before I went to bed and just left it then. In the morning, the scene was loaded. And it's not just loading the scene, it's also compiling 5,000 odd shaders. You're going to have so much fun. It's essentially the world right there for you. So scale this up. There's of course my lack of Blender knowledge that comes in. And what scale do we have right now? We have 2 by 2 meters. I don't know, how big is a mountain? I don't know, 2 by 2 kilometers, I'm thinking. So I think we're saying let's make this at least 1,000 times bigger, right? I'm thinking, which there might be a camera clipping problem. Let's go do that. S 3000. Yeah, camera clipping problem. clip end. I don't even know, can we, I don't know, put 3 zeros on it? Yeah, perfect. Good stuff. We've done that. Our point light is now no longer really illuminating. Point light is about this big. This is now 2 by 2 kilometers wide. So that's not going to work, is it? Let's not worry about the point light. X marks the spot. Let's bring in that HDRI again. See if I can remember if Christina was saying you just hold Control T and that'll do something. That's not how it works, is it? Oh, probably on the World tab then. Control T. Hey! Oh my God! What happened now? It did so much that I don't even comprehend that. Okay. So when you follow Christina's shortcuts, sometimes you still need to know what you're doing. You can't just press shortcuts and expect this to make any sense at all. Yes. Texture coordinate goes into mapping. That goes into environment texture, but then there's another one that does essentially the same thing. I already don't really trust this, so I'm gonna go take these things away and just use this. Open downloads Kloppenheim. That's the one. Apply scale. Very good point. Thank you, Brian. Totally forgot that. Apply scale. Let's just hope this is now the HDRI applied. We'll find out in a moment. It is as well. And of course, background, tad annoying. Let's go get rid of that. It's under film, where you would totally expect it to be. Where do I make my HDRI transparent again? Oh, under the film setting. Oh, really? What, that, seriously? Yeah. Ah, okay. That's how, who made that decision again? Anyway, Control A, apply scale. Boom. And that, does that take a second or so? Because, you know, that's a landscape. That's exciting. Yes, can move it. That's nice. And also, this is now still Eevee, by the way. So Eevee is not officially supported, if I understand this correctly. But there's a thing called Eevee Fix at the bottom. So we'll just do this step by step as the PDF suggests. Let's see what happens while Brian is waiting for his park to load. Once you're happy with the landscape, base materials. Oh no, we've got that. There we go. Big orange box. Where were we? Did we do this? Scaled. Yes, are wanting bad grammar. Yes, I remember that. Cool. Once you now have your material set up, let's say it is advised that you add your particle system first before adding the subdivision modifier. Let's not use a subdivision modifier for now, shall we? But it's good to know if we ever wanted to use one, it needs to be at the bottom of the stack. Adding particle systems could not be easier. Ensure you have the mesh you wish to add them to, comma, selected. Okay, good. I think we have that. I like it. Comma, select. Choose from grass, trees, rock. Click the image in the selection tool to open the options. Oh my god, this is where the exciting part begins. Select the option you wish to append, and this will close the selection drawer. Then click Add Rocks, Trees, Grass. There are a few caveats when it comes to adding particles, which can be found in the particle setting of this document, comma, here. I like it. Oh, this is the same document. It just jumped me ahead there. I don't have a back button, which is, comma, a shame. Okay, let's just follow this. Mesh, comma, selected. Choose from grass, trees, rocks, and click the image in the selection tool to open the options. All right. Okay, so thingy selected. Here's the particles thing. Rocks, trees, and grass. Oh my. In that order, I guess. Rocks, add rocks. Barely visible, but I think that's down to the number. I think the size of the rocks is now pretty cool. These are the rocks. Let's just go make them a tad bigger, like maybe 10 times bigger. There we go. We've got rocks on the rocky landscape. We can change the number. 5,000 rocks. Maybe that's too much. Make it 1,000 rocks. We can change the position and location. So this is all, I think, particle system based, if I understand this correctly. Like seed, this is the random seed, and you change this, and then the position of all the rocks is essentially getting, you know, jumbled. We can put randomization in here. Give it a random size thing. So we have smaller and larger rocks, so that's very good. Let me go put that up to 20. That is cool. Got random rocks everywhere. And like Christina was suggesting earlier, we can now use density maps to say where we don't want rocks, where we want more rocks and stuff. So that is definitely possible. Okay, let's go ahead with trees. Add a tree or two. There's low and medium trees. Let's add low trees. I don't know what low and medium means. I don't get it. Add trees, come on. Okay. Perhaps those are too many trees. Gotta be absolutely open about this. There comes a point where you have too many trees. But they behave then the same way, I guess. So you can just say size, let's go make them a bit bigger. Larger trees, and let's make less of them. So let's have 100 trees all over the landscape maybe. And let's add a bit of variation to that, so randomness 0.9. Well, see, now we can have more trees, 200 trees. Some are bigger, some are smaller. So I think that the maximum randomness you can apply is 1. And that means that, I think this would mean that they go and, oh, what's display? I can display less. Oh, that's exciting. That's exciting. The hair dynamics work great with grass, Captain. That is, I've done this experiment a while ago. Let me show you, see if it's still there. Search my magic website about grass and Blender. This is for an older version of Blender, but it will show you. This is what the hair dynamics look like on grass. So I've tried this in Carrara first, and then I thought, hey, this should work in Blender just the same. And here's how I did it. So I've made a grass stalk, and so this is for 2.79. But then literally I just added the particle replicator using the hair option. And then you just fiddle with the settings. Use the density map also, where you want the grass and whatnot. I might just go post that link into our little chat here for later study. Yes, please do. Grass in Blender using hair dynamics and particle system. Boom. Enjoy. This is why I keep my website, because I can never remember how to do this, but if I write it down, you know, we were talking about written instructions earlier. That's just so super helpful. So we've got the landscape, we've got some trees, we've got some rocks. Let's do a bit of grass next, shall we? So all we need to do is go click that and go add grass. Boom. And grass cometh. I cannot see the grass. Grass even. Grass, you there? We can, I think, also just go and switch these things off, just so that we can focus on the grass. So I don't actually see any grass. Maybe it's just not big enough. Maybe it's not enough grass on there. Add grass. Make the grass bigger. See if we get to see it. Oh, actually also add my overlays in. No, there's no grass. I ain't seen no grass, man. Is it underneath? Oh, that's what it looks like underneath. Excellent. No, no grass. More grass? I don't see grass. Been diddled. The Emerga! Hello, hello. Hey, do you know anything about true terrain, Emerga? We just thought, without reading instructions or watching videos, we can work it out. Of course, that's not gonna work, but you know, we're already at the grass stage, and grass ain't working so well. Let me just go and add more grass. You know, if grass isn't working, always add more grass. Maybe that'll work. Yeah, okay, so we don't have much luck with the grass. That's cool. I'm good without the grass. I'm more interested to see what happens with water in a moment. Oh, that was one undo too many. Let's go and redo that. Redo. There, so we've got trees, we've got rocks, we've got a HDRI already. And those were the particles, I guess. Grass, yeah, it worked kind of in a previous iteration here. That's okay. Let's see what my man, the developer, says about the caveats. Let's not work about the carrots at the moment. Shader tab, there we go. These options explained. Full material. Clicking this will show the full material. This only needs to be clicked if you click another option. Okay. Output Blender Viewer shows the mask generated on the mesh for blending your two material selections. There's two materials now. Shader, this shows the material only after the blending node. This is useful if you go into the shader editor to start to create more shader mixing. Okay. The good thing about options is it's optional, I guess. No worries. Hey, thanks. I just thought I'd let you know. Oh, was it? Okay, Brian. Okay, let's try more grass. Add grass. Let's go and get rid of the rocks and the trees and just focus on the grass. Add grass. Boom. I can't see the grass, but Brian says he can see the grass. It's just sparse. Let's just go make it larger. 100 times larger. I want like, oh yeah, I can just about see something. Grass, where art thou? I'm going to also increase this number times 10. Yeah. It's clovers. That is so cute. Oh, clover. All right. Oh, you click picture. Oh, you click picture. You pick different grass. Is that how you do that? Or do you then have to go, now that you've added clover, maybe now we add different type of grass, which is the lawn grass. Okay, let's add a 0 to that. More helps more. Size. Let's make it big, like grass. Okay, good stuff. That was too big. Thank you, Brian. Look, I barely saw that. And do we want more? Times 10. As Jay breaks Blender. That's now too much grass. It's not too much, it's just I think the particles, there's just a lot of particles off that. And maybe the landscape is too big for that. It always depends on how big your landscape is. If it were smaller, then the values might work. So it's always a little gamble here, I'm thinking. That it's correct, Emerga. It's the second one. It's WordPress. It's a nickname my friends gave me way back in the day when I had just discovered WordPress, and I set up a lot of websites for myself and a lot for colleagues and friends, and everyone was getting into WordPress then because it was such a cool concept to say, hey, I don't need to have local code that I hack and then upload. We can just do this on a web browser at work from various machines, and you can create content, you can fiddle with your website, you can literally do all the web editing in a web browser from anywhere. And many of us were working in fixed installations back then rather than having a laptop that was connected to the internet. So I kind of, was an evangelist, if you will. And so my friends gave me the nickname WordPress Guru, and I used to have a domain that was called wordpressguru.co.uk, and Matt Mullenweg himself we had a little email exchange. I've asked him, hey, is this okay? I've read it's not kosher to use the word WordPress in what you do. And he goes, no, please don't do that. Just use WP and you'll be fine. And then there's no legal issues. And so I've changed the domain into WP Guru, and it took on a couple of other meanings over the time. So there's also web professional, which is a job. I didn't even know that was a job. It's just the guy who bangs his head against the wall figuring out web interfaces to get something done. That's a web professional. I didn't know these people existed, but there's me having already done it for about 10 years, and I thought, hey, that's great. That'll fit as well, WP. But today it doesn't really mean much anymore. I mean, I still use WordPress daily. It's so ingrained in me. It's very important for me. I run about 60, 70 WordPress websites on my own servers. They're not all mine. They're mainly for other people who pay me for the privilege of hosting their websites. And yeah, so that's how the moniker stuck. But well spotted. Yeah, it could have also been word perfect. So I think we're doing a bit too much grass here. I think, let's go and get rid of the grass. Can we just X that? X the grass. Delete, yes. Oh no, not quite what we had wanted to do. See how well that works here. Can we not just go and, oh, this is the minus button here. Boom. Grass be gone. Lawn grass, there we go. We're living with monster clover. Let's make the clover a bit bigger. Monster clovers. That's nice. Hey, that's good. It's the clover-covered mountain. Let's switch our other friends on again and see what happens. Switch this off. I'm undecided about the clover. I think the clover's going to get the boot. Let's go buy clover. That's cool. But it's good to know that we can literally just go click on this and we have other things. I suppose it's the same with trees then. These are the elm trees that we've made. But what if we wanted spruce trees? Does it work? No, I think we have to create new trees. So just add more. That's the spruce trees now, I think. Material less, but shaders are being compiled, I'm being told. Okay, that's nice. They don't have quite the right size. Compared to our elm trees, there's 200 elm trees at the size of 2. Let's make that with the elm trees as well, size of 2. Number, maybe 1,000 is too much, but let's make it 100. Would they grow together? Of course not. Also randomize them and then maybe make the size, I don't know, bigger. Spruce trees are like massive, aren't they? Goody. Multiple trees. So that is how we do that. I suppose that's also true for rocks then. If we wanted different types of rocks, yes. Brown, grey, rocky, mossy, sandy, white rocks. All right. Venus flytraps. I'm not sure. So how about the shader itself then? Is it dark, rocky, wet? So, look at that. That's exciting. So you can also have a different type of landscape here. How do we do that? Just select and then... No, I suppose we have to select this first before we make a landscape, or before we add the material to the landscape, I think. Right? I bet. Or like my man suggested, you just blend them together. On the material tab, right, okay. So we have 2 terrains now. And we can go and blend those together now. Interesting. Also mind-blowing. Let's take a look at water. Please add a water mesh or select water object. Something about water in its name. Or select water object. Object has terrain water in its name. Okay. This is gonna be crazy. Let's see what else the instructions say? Christina, there are instructions. I just went ahead and bought the plugin, and there are instructions in here. It's just that they don't come with the trial version, but the full version has a 33-page getting started guide that explains literally everything in written instructions. So it is there. It's just not in the trial version, which, you know, makes perfect sense. I can understand why he did that. So, you know, paying customers will get instructions. It's very good to know. Shader tab. We're going to go skip ahead into the anti-time, my goodness. Into the, oh, dust color, my goodness. Particle tab. We've been exploring that, Christina. Very exciting. You can... On each of these particle systems, you can, before you add the thing you want to add, you can pick a material here or a type of thing that you want to add. So the rocks have a ton of options, and so you have to pick that first, and then you can add another layer of particles to it as such. Same with the trees. So the trees have that, and you can then go and low is probably fine. You can then add another bunch of low poly trees or medium. Same with the grass. So tons of grass options. And he also has that for the original shader. So before when we create the landscape, we make that first, we scale it up, and then we make the shader for that. And for that we add a material. And before we do that, I think we just go and pick what we'd like. And we can have multiple, and they will then blend together too, if we wanted that, with the blend map. Very, very, very cool stuff. Also, endless possibilities with this already. That's exciting. Endless possibilities. Oh, well done, Brian. Good stuff. Congrats. Yes, that'll take another 10, 15, 20 minutes until all the shaders have compiled. And then you may notice in the... Brian's talking about the park environment project in Unreal Engine. You may then notice sluggish viewport performance, and there's an object that you have to remove from the scene, and with that removed, it's all good. It's in the, I've forgotten which one it is. If you figure it out, do let me know. It's described in on the project page. It's one of the questions that has been I think asked and answered. Somebody just says, yeah, remove this and do that, and you're going to be fine. Yes, absolutely, Christina, go for it. So in fact, since we're kind of getting the hang of it, let's go do this whole thing again. Don't save, just create a new thing. So also, Christina, another thing that the instructions say, this whole plugin relies on Ant Landscape. So I have it installed. I have Ant Landscape installed, and I can just go and add a landscape, and that'll do this. And we have these options to get the landscape going to begin with. So that's how we set the, you know, whichever way we want to set it up. So it relies on that. If we don't use this, let's go do that X. We can just go use this from here. With Ant Landscape, it does the same thing. So Ant Landscape adds the same thing, and the same getting started options are available here, which is cool. So this is the first step, if I understand it correctly. And then he says scale this thing up. So then we just go and say S1000, just like we said. Actually, let's go undo that. I'm going to do it with 500. So that's 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer. So S500. Boom. And look at it, and now we don't see anything, but that is because of the clipping options here. So end, we'll just go add a couple of zeros on there, and now we can see that. And sorry about that thing. So that's that, and then Control A, apply the scale, and now the particle systems are going to work properly. Shader, so add material. I can't actually add. I can't pick it now, but I can go and add it. No light in the scene anymore because my point light is now inside the thing, so goodbye point light. on the shading tab. Control T, was it? That does a lot more than I had bargained for, Christina. This sets up more than I really need. Control T. So a minute ago I ended up deleting things, but maybe I don't need to do that. Maybe this is all supposed to work this way. I'll go and open my Kloppenheim thing again. Kloppenheim. And I suppose I put that in here as well. Is that correct? Kloppenheim, perhaps. And we don't necessarily want to... Whoa. Oh, that's because it's... That's because it's Eevee. Eevee Fix is here as well. I haven't read that far yet, but let's go and put it onto cycles. With GPU. And if that happens, I think we go under Preferences, under System, and we go CUDA. That's correct. And if that looks like that, perhaps... Yeah, maybe this. I don't think I need that in here. I don't think so. No, I think we can we see it? Can we see it now? Updating images, lights, and yes! There we go, perfect. Okay, so what's that strenuous, the additional image there? So then under film, we just go make the background transparent. And now we don't have the background as such anymore. But this also previews nicely in this viewport without cycle, so that's good. That's good to know. So the second ground shader, then we can add, we can pick another one, say maybe this or that. Maybe the green stuff so we can see what's happening. Pick the green stuff. Oh, there we go. That's nice. Resolutions 3K or 6K. Whoa. Variance, color. Interesting. Interesting. This looks like an Indiana Jones level now, doesn't it? Very nice. Do you know, Brian, and when you walk around inside the park environment, I got lost. I just walked around this in about an hour or so, and I was thinking, I haven't seen this before. My God, is there a new fountain here? This is a new lake. Oh my God, I haven't seen this before. It's in the holding loop. I've had this in the holding loop this morning and this afternoon. Oh, Christina, you would have laughed this morning in the YouTube stream. I brought my rubber boat, Brian's Tangaroa mug, and several Genesis figures into Superliminal and built a level with it. That was so cool. I'm going to upload some clips later from that. That was seriously funny. It works! Unbelievable. We basically got a Genesis 3 character, dressed her up as a nurse, and then we put just a flat cylinder at the bottom. So otherwise she falls over because it's just, physics and it's just go. So we put a cylinder on there and made the cylinder invisible, imported that into Superliminal, directly from DAZ Studio to Superliminal, and oh my God, it works! I can build my own level with DAZ Studio objects. That's so funny. It was seriously funny. Right, so it was the holding loop that made you do that. That's cool. Yes, I thought the holding loop would be nice because it looks like you don't really know, is this real? Is this out of Jay's window now or something? But no, it's all Unreal Engine. Just locked off cameras. Now, water. He reckons we can't just go and add water. We need a mesh. So it says here, please add water mesh or select water object. And that says object that has terrain water in its name. So I don't know what this means. I've not read up to the water section here. It's particle tab, particle options tab. This is regular particle things here. Defaults are not enabled by default. So, but it's exactly what we can do on the particle tabs. It's just exposed here. Love it. Water. The water tab is used for adding and adjusting true water. Adding water, comma, will add a single plane with a solidify and subdivision modifier. Do not disable these or it will not work properly. Water. Okay. True water is the most realistic water shader you can get for Blender anywhere. It has realistic volumetric properties, node-based foam generation, shoreline foam generation, node-based caustics, node-based dispersion, water scatter and absorption options, and procedural wave options. That is very exciting. Look at that, Rod. See? My plan worked. And you've been posting every day. Congrats. That's great. Okay. Must remain calm here. The location values at the top of the menu are for moving the water object around more accurately. You can still move and scale using the G or S keys in Blender. Surface color is the color of the surface. Dispersion amount, okay. For advanced settings, please check the advanced water settings guide in your downloads. Yes, there was a second PDF just for that. But for now, I haven't quite added any water. Render settings, we're going to talk about that later. Let's have a look at the water. Water is a very, very fascinating thing. True Water 4. Oh my. In-depth guide for true terrain water. Ocean foam, shore, waves, ripples. Pro tips. Shore foam and waves. Very cool. And ripples. Pro tips. And that was that. But there's no, I can't see a thing in which we, what type of object we need for water. It's just a plane. And do I need to subdivide it? In this machine, 48 gig, Christina, 48 gigabytes. Is there a way to see how much Blender is using RAM-wise? Because when we add trees and rocks and water in a moment, I'm more than happy to have a look what it eats up there. Let me see if I can just go and add a plane then. So just add a regular plane, or maybe a grid. Maybe. Let's add a grid and add some more subdivisions in here. I'll make it 100 by 100. And the size, so this is a kilometer by kilometer, so I'm going to make that 1000 meters, right? There we go. So it does all that. I'm thinking that might be good. And I'll go and name this water, and I'm going to grab it and just move it up a bit so that we have something like this. And let's see if our thing can work with that. If I just go and say make water, please add the water mesh first, which we've done. Okay, let's see. Oh, has that done it? I don't know if it was happy or not. I can't tell. Please add a water mesh. So yeah, it looks like it doesn't like this. Oh, no, hang on. Blender's still doing things. Yes, 48 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM. Which is much, much cheaper than DDR4 RAM. Much like my entire computer. It's basically built out of really cheap components from eBay. Good, old, cheap components. Like a CPU, a pair of Xeon CPUs that I'm using, 5675, a 3 gigahertz dual CPU system. The CPUs themselves are about $50, and the machine into which it goes is about 200. So it's really a cheap yet capable system. It used to be close to 10 grand. Mr. Backdoor, how you doing? So it looks like my water here, there's other waters here, but they do not appear as things. That's interesting. They're almost like invisible volumes. I'm sure I've done something wrong. Yeah, that's the one thing he doesn't quite explain. Let me go and get rid of this. This and that. Here's my water, here's my landscape. Please add a water mesh. I don't know if that... Is it a different mesh, perhaps? Is it a different thing? Much like a landscape? Add mesh water, something like that? I'm not seeing it. And I haven't seen it in the guide yet either. Steve, I've just picked up the... We've tried the trial version and I was so excited about it, I bought the full version and I'm just putting it through the ringers. And it is just like you said and like you had expected. The full version appears to have more materials here for things like, you know, anything like trees and grass and stuff like that. So there's just more variations here. And I'm just at this point where I'm trying to get the water going. Please add a water mesh. So I think this could be my water mesh. Or select water object. Let's just say this is it. Object has terrain water in its name. Maybe I'll just go and rename it that way. Terrain water in its name. Perfect. Oh, there we go. Now it seems happy. Okay, let's go and do add water. Oh, no, it's just done this now. I don't know what it means. Ocean foam and whatnot, it's all just not there. So I'm sure I'm doing something wrong. Let's read that guide one more time. So true water was not exactly forthcoming. It just explains the settings, but not how we actually get it in. So, true terrain 3.1, water basics. Water continued. Where does it start? Where does it start? This is particle tabs. Good stuff. Water. The water tab is used for adding and adjusting true water. Do we need to... Oh, is that a different product? Adding water will add a single plane with a solidify and subdivision modifier. Do not disable these. So yeah, it's almost implying this is a different product. Quick search on the Blender market will, of course, reveal it. True terrain patch for 2.9. Oh, have I got that? No, this is already in there. That's perfect. True water PDF, but there's no true water. Is that a product that I need to install? Read me first. Did we do that? No, of course we didn't. Let's go read that now. Nothing in that file. Yeah, nothing in that file. This is the file. Textures, textures, textures. True terrain. True water PDF, but not... I'll have a look at his other products. True mass, true earth, true grass, true space, true terrain, true rocks. Do not understand the true water reference. But I like the trueness of it all. That is very cool. It's part of true terrain. I cannot work it out then. True water. Yeah, so this requires a landscape, which we have. And then things will become available here. But water, yeah, water suggests we need to add a water object first. So these are just the shaders, I guess. And the one that I made myself, it didn't like. Please add water mesh. I don't know how. Because I don't see any water meshes here. He does suggest it's... volumetric, so perhaps I was thinking maybe it's under here, but no. Empty image light probe camera. Nothing to add here. Clicking this button doesn't really do much either. It's got terrain water now. Oh, there we go. But it's not in the picture. It's not in the scene. Oh, there! Oh, that's cute. Oh, cute. You are so cute and small and tiny. I barely recognize you. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've done that, Steve. So maybe this also now needs to be scaled up. So someone's singing. I do apologize. We didn't mean for that to happen. So this needs to now be the size of the landscape. So S500. And we're still in that viewport. Okay, that's the water. Doesn't look healthy as such. Blender's thinking about it. Okay, size is good. Let's go and apply the scale perhaps as well. Control A. Apply the scale. There we go. And with it, GZ, move it up a little bit because we like to flood some of our landscape more. It is actually animating, so the computer is a little bit slow because I have a feeling it's actually animating. And this is not in the rendered viewport, this is just in this viewport here, in shading. I'd love to have a closer look at that. It doesn't look good right now, I gotta tell you. See what it looks like rendered, just to get a bit of an impression here. Did you get it to work with Eevee yesterday, Steve? I'll switch that to 0 so that we get continuous improvements here. Doesn't quite look like water just yet. Oh, experimental, I think that's what I've forgotten. Yeah, I'm on cycles. But experimental I hadn't switched on. Good point. Thank you, Steve. Yeah, I read that it was not working well in Eevee. There was some kind of a fix, but I thought, nah, let's just go have a look at this in cycles first. Still doesn't look much like water. It looks more like mud. But that's okay. What options does he speak of? Do we say do not disable? I'm not disabling anything. That's cool. Most realistic water. Sales pitch. The location values are for moving the water. Gotcha. Surface color is the surface of the water. Dispersion amount is how much light is scattered from white into RGB. When this is on, objects under the water will have RGB outline to them. Okay, the higher the value, the higher the RGB is. This is used sparingly. Let's leave it off. Caustics. How strong the caustics are. Shadow amount, scatter amount. I would imagine the defaults should kind of give us a little impression here. Perhaps the surface color, we just go and make that a bit, I don't know, bluer. Adaptive sampling, righty. Do you know what that does? For those of us who may not know that. I understand denoising isn't working, but that's neither here nor there. I'm happy with that. Kind of interesting to see the whole shoreline effect here. So there's basic ocean foam and all that on or off. Ocean foam, yeah, let's put that on. That's nice. Let's put some foam on there. Not sure if that looks great or if that looks a little bit bizarre here, because the size just doesn't match. 0 it is. Shore foam, on or off. Yeah, okay, it looks like we have that already. Waves, on or off. It is on right now, which is probably why it's taking a little bit longer to display all these. And ripples too. As I can't really see what this is. It's just blue-white noise, so it's not really saying much to me. I might just go and frame up a bit of shoreline here and just make a render, and then we can have a look what the render looks like. Also the non-rendered viewport. Okay, so water doesn't show up in this, just shows up as, you know, mess. That's okay. It is trying to animate this. This is why it's slow. I'll just go and frame up this piece of shoreline here, and we'll see what we can, what a real render looks like. Oh, do you know, I think Twitch are working on notifications right now, Steve. I think they're rolling something out, a bit like on YouTube, that will let you receive notifications ahead of time. If I received an email yesterday that that suggested as much. Oh good, can't we say, oh there we go, that's that. We're kind of inside the landscape. Oh man. Yes, what a shame. I can't frame up the camera. I don't know why it doesn't work. Yeah, so they're working on something that might be nice, in which you get notifications in advance. Like half an hour before a stream starts, if the creator has set a proper schedule. Here's the camera. Here's the landscape. So that should show me that, right? I'm thinking. Go to the camera, it shows me nothing. It's set to camera and view. I'm putting this on the lampstand. I'm picking this. I'm supposed to see the thing now, but I do not. How much less clipping do we need then here? Let's just add a few more zeros here. Does that work? No, it doesn't. That's a shame. So landscapes can't actually be framed up and rendered. Okay, good stuff. Blender, thanks. That's loving that. Loving that. Yeah, that doesn't really make any sense, does it? Let's go and get rid of the camera then. Let's go and make a new camera. Fine, I'm easy. I don't really mind. If that's how you want to play it, Blender, fine. Cool. Let's make a camera. Here's the camera. Let's imagine this is the active object as well. So view, cameras, set active object as camera. You'd imagine that is the case. Great. Now select the landscape, do this, and we don't see the landscape. Okay. Nice. That's a shame. So that can't be done then. What happens if we put something else in, like a little cube here? And we frame up the cube. Can we see the cube? Cube's here. That's cool. Oh, there it was. There it was. Perfect. Camera clipping is pretty much the worst feature, right? In Blender. That's right, isn't it? Camera clipping, and why do we even have it? There's probably a reason. None that I'll understand in a hurry, I think. The cube, I think we don't need anymore, but thanks. That clarified a few things for me. camera clipping. The weirdest, worst feature of them all. And also, can you just react here? Just let me get my framing. Thanks. Super nice. Awesome. Just want to check out the water features. That's really all. Camera clip. What a waste of time. Why would this do that? That just makes no sense at all. But hey, I think we've got it now. That's cool. It's not inside the landscape. No, I don't think so. It's just, I really don't know what it is. It's just that there's a tiny shallow thing that is what the camera shows, and anything behind it and in front of it, it just doesn't show. And why that is, well, I don't think we'll ever find out. It's just one of those wonderful Blender things. Okay, well, let's try this then. And render image. See if that looks any better than the preview rendered version. Yeah, that's what I do, Christina. That's exactly how I did it. Oh no, actually no, sorry, I didn't. Control add 0 numpad. Advanced lesson. I'm not sure if I understand. I'll try it out. Control Alt numpad. Control Alt numpad 0. We'll try. We've framed it up now. Let's see what happens. And Steve, did you say what was adaptive sampling again? That's another thing that I'm not entirely sure what it actually does. Could take a while. Yeah, shame optics doesn't work on this. That is a shame. And the water's still pretty grainy. Yeah, the water is really what I'm interested in. The good thing is that we've worked out how to add trees and rocks, and that it actually makes sense the way it works. That is also nice. Also that we can add multiple layers of rocks and or trees. That's cool. But the water, yeah, that's a bit of a puzzle there still to me. And yes, denoising apparently isn't working, says a reviewer. I haven't tried it. We can try that in the next thing. Where was it now? Here, I think. Under here. True terrain. There we go. Under ratings. There we go. So people have left mostly positive review. This guy had issues. This guy says, warning, CUDA only, optics not supported, nor viewport denoising. Oh, that's just viewport denoising, right. Select GPU experimental for displacement and set dicing rate to 8 pixels so the magic will work. That we should try as well. Dicing rate. Never heard of that before. Might as well stop it because it's a grainy mess. We don't really know what it's going to look like. Dicing something. Dicing render rate render. Did he say 8? The man say 8? 8 pixels so the magic will work. Okay, great. Dicing rate render, I suppose. Dicing camera. What is dicing? I don't know what that means. That's what adaptive sampling does. That's cool. Excellent. All right, cool. Then let's have a look at the denoising. If we I'm going to go and try and focus just on the water. If I'm allowed, that's not, you know, it's not my call. If it's going to work or not, it's kind of more Blender's call here. And I might make this a bit smaller. So like, you know, just go with 70% maybe. And let's try denoising. See if that does something. Under somewhere, I don't know. It's always somewhere. There we go. Denoising. Haha. Render. NLM. Viewport automatic. I don't know. Yes, I guess. Maybe. Let's just say yes. Render image. So many things that I just don't know. And there's always something else. You think you've learned one thing, and then that opens up the door to 100 other things that you've never even heard of. And, you know, that's crazy. Also, denoising works, just not in the viewport. Okay. And perhaps in this case, 128 samples is just not quite enough. But it's kicking it. It's definitely doing it. It's definitely doing it. I do like the color. It does look very Caribbean at the moment. That's nice. Yeah, so I suppose then if any of you are in the market for using this plugin, I suppose the other thing to look up on in regards to how do you create a landscape the way you'd like it is to look up the Ant Landscape add-on. I don't know if that comes with this plugin. I had it installed already. It's not, I don't think it comes with Blender. I think you have to install it. I don't actually remember. But it's a good one to have, and it literally adds the landscape mesh to the whole thing. And it has 140 million options to begin with before you even get going with any of this. So it's always something else to learn. I can see some shoreline form here. That's nice. I'll come out and I'll add rocks and trees to this whole thing, and then I can start a large render with a lot more samples that take an hour or so, and I'll post that on the Discord later so we can have a look at it. Oh, I see. Oh, that's interesting. Thank you, Christina. Thank you. Adaptive sampling. Is it a fairly recent feature in Blender? Because it's not something I remember hearing all that much about. That is true, actually. And I think, Brian, this is exactly how the scientists feel. That they have somebody has a theory and then goes and they do some research and then they confirm the theory that, oh, yeah, great, that's awesome. But why is that? And then they just fall down this rabbit hole, don't they? Okie doke. So interesting. Can I see through the landscape? I can't tell right now. Let's add some more rocks and trees so that we can build up something we can actually frame up. So perhaps something like that. Maybe that's funky. I don't know. I can't tell. We can see a little bit of water, but we can also see a little bit of this, and then we can you know, maybe this is a nice thing we can go and render in, I don't know, maybe 512 samples later. Yeah, I think I'm going to avoid that. Don't know why I don't see anything else here anymore. But hey, I mean, whatever, really. Do we have to set this to on really just to see something? That's terrible. I'm gonna go and switch the water off for sure. There. because this behavior is actually quite all right. So under particles, let's add rocks first. Perhaps some mossy ground rocks, I'm thinking. Add rocks, good stuff, boom. And just so that we can see them, we're gonna go make them 10 times bigger. Randomize them as well. This could be like more like larger rocks, maybe like 20 then. And let's go make them. Yeah, maybe that's enough. It's enough of those rocks. Let's find other rocks. Perhaps the gray rocks. Add those. Oh, that's just changed the shader of the previous rocks. No, that's not correct, has it? Yeah, because these were the mossy ground rocks. There we go. That's mossy ground, and these ones are supposed to be, I don't know, something else, like these ones here. Or not. What do I know? Smaller rocks. Great. Randomize smaller rocks. Good stuff. Random is good. I like random. There. Tons of rocks. Are they even on here? I can't tell. Who knows? It's excellent. We've got rocks. Awesome. Let's go with trees. Woohoo! Let's. Are we good with oak trees? I'm thinking oak trees. I'm in for oak trees. That might be a few too many trees. Gotta be absolutely honest. Maybe 1,000 trees is too much. Let's start with 100. And then I suppose our density shader would come in handy when it's about the trees not growing in the water. I have, of course, forgotten how to do that, so I don't think we're going to do this today. I think I'd like to also have random size trees. And the trees as such, perhaps they can be a little bit, maybe that's a bit too much, maybe 0.4. That could be nice. This is terrible, actually. What does it look like when the water is back? The water's kind of here. Yeah, I think less trees is then our only option. Perhaps even less trees. And then to avoid this, we can just go play with the seed. See, this is kind of 4 is already something we can work with here. I'm thinking. There we go, even better. Maybe make it 50 trees after all. There we go. I think this is we're kind of getting there. Just make sure there's no trees in the water. Yeah, perfect. We've got elm trees. That's awesome. Do we need grass? Why would we not have grass? Let's go with grass, such as fern. I like fern. Let's go fern. Add grass. Boom. More particles. That is either too small or not enough, or both. Let's make it larger. Even this is actually very nice. Let's go and make it 10. Because it's fern, it can be large. It can also be randomized. Fern grows on the water a little bit too much. There we go. That I can live with that. I can live with that. We've got it. Let's go save our scene. It's our epic landscape. I love it. This is, in fact, this is only test 2, if we're really, really honest here. Have I switched everything on that we needed here? Is there anything else that we need to have a look at? Denoising we like. I might just go make this 100% already. Shall I? Or shall we go make it? Let's make it something smaller, just to see if the overall thing is actually gonna work for us. And let's go and render that image. Oh, I can do this, and we can all look at it slightly closer up. Right. I thought that as well, Steve. I thought I read this about adaptive sampling, that's a good idea and all. So Thanks. And also thank you so much for letting me know that Ant Landscape is actually part of Blender now. That is good. Maybe last time I looked at it, or the first time I looked at it, which was like literally years ago, it may not have been, but I'm glad to hear that it is now. .83, so there we go. Christina, so it was fairly recent then. Excellent. Adaptive subdivision. Have I got this enabled? Oh, look at that. Did you see? Oh, this. Oh, my goodness. Oh, this looks actually very neat. And we haven't even seen the full picture yet. Look at that. Oh, can you imagine a little bit of depth of field going there? A character somewhere in there? Or just like a, black monolith or something? That would be cool. Ooh. This isn't looking half bad. I mean, that is actually now with all the stuff in. And with a decent amount of samples as well. I suppose that's also important. Really? Really? That is very cool. Do you know what? This reminds me a little bit of programs like Carrara, where you just have to trust that whatever you see in the viewport is nothing like what the actual render is going to be like. It's just a rough approximation. Don't worry about it. It's all just, we'll show you where what object is, but what it actually looks like later, don't you worry about it. That's what it feels like a little bit. That enlarge. A little bit of depth of field thing is nice actually. That's very good. Wow. That isn't so bad at all. Okay, let's go a little bit of depth of field in the camera department. Also notice I haven't put any lights in. This is just one single HDRI, and I'm thinking perhaps we can rotate that just so that the shadows go the other way, not quite from... So I have a feeling the light source is actually kind of in the background going towards here. I think just moving it either way 90 degrees is going to make a difference. Maybe, I'm thinking. Oh, we get modifier nodes. All right. Just to clarify, guys, you're talking about this menu here, this thing. Oh no, that's copy. No, that's not it. It's the one. Which one are you guys talking about? This one here. No, which one was it? Well, not that we can actually apply any of these modifiers here. Oh, that's not even the modifiers. Duh! I thought it was here somewhere. Which menu was it? There was one... This one here. That's what you're talking about. Right? So this will go away, is that right? Modify nodes and all. Okay, interesting. Crazy. Blender. Always changing. Just as you got used to something. So in my camera setting... I can't really pick a single object now because there isn't one. So I'm gonna go put one in if I can. I don't think I can do that. The wrench icon. I think that was it. Yeah, wrench icon, right? Yes, and then it's this thing here. Do you know? I think there's a delay between what I'm sending and what you're seeing. It's the same with what I'm seeing. Do me a favor, just refresh your thing. I think that'll tighten up the gap between me and you, where it appears to be like a considerable delay. Oh, change it again. Okay. I thought this was different. I haven't used it much, but I thought it was. I remember it to be different than it currently is. Okay, this is going to be interesting. I'd like to put a helper object here somewhere, but of course, with the scale of the scene, I don't exactly know if I am going to be successful with that. Of course, I won't be. Of course, I won't be. Why do I have light when I look through the camera and not when I just move the camera away? Does it make any sense to anybody? Because it doesn't to me. It's just such a shame, isn't it? That's the basics that I just, you know, why can I look through the camera? I can clearly see a picture. I move away with the camera and I see stuff like that. Does that make sense? It doesn't to me. But I'm glad it does to the developers of Blender, because, hey man, it's totally logical. Is it? It's great. It's so good to hear. Do you know what? Absolutely, yes. I'm already no longer streaming, Brian. This is already... Stream's over. Yes, all I'd like to do is put a helper object here, and with that not being really possible, I'm just going to have to find a different way. Camera selected. I'd love to go with depth of field. Yes, I suppose I'm going to have to go and use the real-time render. Usually you just focus in on an object that you place, but with that being now impossible, this is now making my job pretty much, I was going to say challenging. That's the preview render, seriously. That is, by definition, impossible, Blender. And you know that as well. Don't you tell me you don't know that. If I render this picture, it comes out perfectly. If I look through it in the rendered viewport, it does not. No, actually, I don't think so. Loading render kernels. This may take a few minutes the first time. How is this the first time? Didn't we just do a render? What is this? This is ridiculous. That's just not even funny. That's not even a ha. Look, I've tricked the user yet again. That's not even funny. That's just pathetic, I'm thinking. That was the plan, Christina, but now Blender does this. I don't think I can do anything anymore. Loading render kernels. All right, Blender. You do that. I might just load another application. How's that? Yeah, that's what I was trying to do, Christina, and that is just not working. So that's what I'm apparently seeing through the camera. Yeah, Blender's packed it in, hasn't it? Oh well. Hey, we had a fun ride. Oh, okay, great. That is nice, thank you. We're back in this viewport. That's at least something. So if I now go into my director's camera view again. Okay, that's like one frame every 2 seconds. Okay, nice. Let's go into this view then here, so we can do at least something. I see this and now I see that. It's weird. Yeah, let me try that again with so the idea was indeed to just put a cube into this place, right? I don't really know where the cube is, so usually I would go and find it like so, but then when Blender throws up that, I'm thinking, well, I don't even know where anything is right now. Why is it that when I go look through my camera, I can see a shading here, and the moment I just go and move my camera away, I see that. That doesn't make all that much sense. I can at least switch the water off. Maybe that'll give me a little bit of an idea where that cube's gone. Now cube's of course here, somewhere that's like way in the inside. Cube, where are you? Anywhere? I know where the cube is. I have no idea. I know it's like a kilometer buried in the landscape. Oh, I know what I can do. I can go scale up the cube. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. Rod, I couldn't agree more. Let me go and scale up the cube 1,000, well, maybe just 100 times then. Just so that we get a bit of an idea where this thing actually is. Oh, it can't be moved. Oh, gotcha. Selecting the cube, righty. So definitely selecting the cube here. Is the cube actually selected? It for some reason doesn't want to be. Why? And then I look through the camera and this happens. Bizarre. Hey, I'm so happy that the cube actually protrudes through this. That's nice. So I can at least position it something like that. This is total fluke that this worked. Let's say I wanted it here, righty? I'll call this one Focus Helper. And then with my camera selected, I'll go into camera settings down here, and now I go and focus in on that object. So Focus Helper, boom, perfect. I don't know if the values for f-stop and all that, if they're good, but potentially kind of a low-res render, which doesn't seem to happen in the viewport anymore, might help us just with 32 samples. Let's try that. And is it F11? I always forget. It's always a different key. It's F12 today. Okay, good. Let's do F12 then. Fine. Let's see if the depth of field effect is nice enough. Let's see. That renders pretty fast. That's cool. Oh, do I have to set it in render settings? Have I actually enabled it? I bet it's a render setting thing that I need to actually tell Blender that I want to use it. Or is it on by default? I can't remember. Dimensions, metadata, post-processing. Oh, it should be on by default. I thought some render engines you have to tell it that. So then if this wasn't enough, we just go make the f-stop dramatically slimmer. So 2.8, that would be kind of real life, shallow depth of field, but I think we can just go and say 0.8. That's a bit scary, but you know, we'll just see if it works, essentially. Oh, leave it down here. See if anything's become shallow now. It has not. That's exciting. Thank you, Blender. That is much appreciated. I also don't exactly know why. But it's not really something that surprises me all that much, because this is how Blender does it. You know, you do one thing on Monday and you try to repeat the same thing on Tuesday, and it of course doesn't work anymore because what? I've just done the same steps. Yes, that was your mistake. This is how Blender does it. So yeah, shame we can't do the depth of field. That would be really nice. But yeah, no f-stop. No, I guess if it's not something I switch on in the render settings, then I don't really know. Let me just have a look through this whole janky menu one more time. Is there anything in here? Denoising advanced? Nope. Light paths. Volumes clamping. Simplify motion blur. No. Well, then we'll just render this without depth of field. What do I know? What do I know? What will I ever know? Where's the render size again? Wasn't that there? Oh, there we go. Perfect. So I'll put this up to 100. And maybe even render this in... Shall I do this in 4K? I might do that. I might do that. ×2 on both accounts. And then with something like 512 was kind of good. Let's do that. Otherwise it'll take way too long. Yes, Rod, I blame you. I'll go and save this, and we can start this off, but it's gonna take quite some time, I'm thinking. That might actually be a good series. J renders. There. So even though depth of field is on, it's not doing anything. I don't really know why. So it reckons now it needs about 1 hour and 17 minutes. 15, 13, 11. So, you know, in a minute it might say 10 seconds. But I'll let this render out and I'll go and post it on the Discord and you can have a look. I might also post it on my ArtStation page. I'll see, depending on how it looks like. It's a shame that I can't get the basics to work in Blender. But hey, that's just, you know, that's just yet another day for me in Blender. I'm going to say goodnight and thank you so much for dropping by. I'll be back on YouTube tomorrow morning. That's going to be exciting. I'm not sure what we're going to do. I really like the level building thing we tried there this morning in Superliminal. See what else we can put into the... from DAZ Studio, bring it into Superliminal, or we might just play the game Superliminal, because I also like that. Might just look at the whole playthrough with fresh eyes. They've got controller support now, and you know, might be nice. Join me for that if you're free tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. And other than that, we'll see what happens here tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. Thank you guys. Have a good night. Bye bye.